Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Gridiron Football Prep Spotlight Show. And usually we have this one on a Thursday, but we're going to decide to boost it up earlier in the week because it's camp week. And Jason Lejeune here alongside Ben Hall, and Ben's actually going to be one of the coaches that will be coaching at this upcoming camp coming up at April 6th. This will be this Saturday. It's going to be at East Ascension High School. It's in Gonzales, Louisiana. So if you go to East Ascension, don't go to the high school, go to the stadium. It's actually pretty much right down the road. Spartan Stadium is where you can find it. So Spartan Stadium in Gonzales, Louisiana. That's where the East Ascension Spartans play their home football games. But once again, joined by Benjamin Hall, who's going to be coaching this upcoming week. And Coach, just tell us about this weekend. I mean, it's camp week, right? So it's pretty exciting. It's like, as a coach, it kind of feels like a game week per se for us, for Gridiron football, because this is really big. Anytime we can have a camp coming up this week, it's like a game day type atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. Well, at heart, I think a lot of people, and I know people like, our closest friends of Gridiron football would maybe can understand this, but we're such a football family knitted group on, basically the way everything's run. You being a former high school coach's son, and me coaching football, and Andy coaching football, and Coach Randall having an affiliation with us, obviously, all being football-hearted people. Anything that allows us to get within the white lines, that always relates to what football is. And yeah, it's like a game week in our own say to it. But one thing about these camps is that we're about this game and helping people, and I'm really looking forward to this week at the camp.
And this will be our third elite camp of the spring. We had 5 last year. This will be our third in 2024. Just to give a quick recap on the first 2 camps we've had. We had one up in Bossier High School in Bossier City, Louisiana for our first camp, and it was a pretty good success. And we actually planned that it was actually we had to move it from Saturday to Sunday because of weather. But it turned out to be a pretty good, turnout, and we did it right before the boys soccer team had their playoff game, so we were able to get that camp in. So I appreciate Coach Smith for allowing us to have that camp and over at Bossier High School, and good success. We had a pretty good crowd for that one, and then we turned the page just really about a month ago. We had Covington High School, big 5A school. I appreciate St. Tammany Parish, Covington High School, Coach Greg Salter for all they've done for allowing us to have that camp at Covington High School. It was a smashing success. In fact, ever since I've been here, it was the biggest camp that we've had. I believe this has been our biggest camp we've ever had. About 87 kids have had signed up and participated in the camp. We had a lot of really good talent. You're working with the quarterbacks at the camp at Covington High School, and there were some pretty good signal callers out there throwing the rock, and you'll see a lot of the highlights there. But what's really good about this camp, as you're seeing all the highlights right now from that camp at Covington High School, is that very reason they get filmed. They get a chance to, hey, if you want to go back and watch some of your techniques, because we film everything, 1-on-1, 7-on-7, position drills, 40 times. We email everything out to them, the 40 times, the 4-yard dash, the broad jump, pretty much everything, so they can go back and watch it. And they can go back and watch pretty much the whole camp. So there's something that they really enjoyed that could be a highlight, could be a one-handed catch they made, or an extra route they run, or a good throw they made. They can go back and check that and post that stuff, but at the same time they can go back and critique themselves and they made a mistake. And that's what's really good about having that footage at the camp.
Yeah, well, one thing we use a great program with Sky Coach, and that's a great software program for anything involving film with football. I think one thing that I really enjoyed about our camp is I think Andy does a great job, where he creates it's a football atmosphere. And this being a high school coach's son, sometimes football gets more limelight and social than it is the game, and that's just how media is. That's how with anything is. But one thing Andy does a great job, which goes back to Andy's affiliation to the game of football. It's been so long, is how he makes the environment so real football-like, if that makes sense. And I think what people that are part of the game understand what that means. Makes it a real football atmosphere, kind of like what practice is. When you show up to practice, I coached high school football for 10 years, and I know you grew up around football. We talked about, you sharing me about birthday parties as a kid, and it was at the football field house, and that's what football is. It's a game atmosphere, but it's also a team atmosphere. And Andy does a great job, and you do a great job, and what I've seen just in the little short time being here or being back reunited with you guys is it's a football atmosphere. And so what that camp's going to be is it's going to be a real football atmosphere. The testing we're going to be doing is going to be real testing that relates to what you see, at the higher level of football evaluation. But at the same time, when we get into individual, when we get into one-on-one drills and 7-on-7 and stuff like that, we're going to treat it just like a practice, in the sense of we're going to be out there as being teachers of the game and having passion for what this game is and being so special it is to sports. Exactly,
and there's a couple of different reasons why you should go to this camp. I mean, one of them was what I just said about everything's going to be filmed, and kind of in line to that is exposure just in general, because you're going to get interviewed. Every kid has an opportunity to get interviewed, and it's really good startup for a lot of these kids because they haven't really been interviewed or haven't got a chance. It's practice for them. It's not only practice for them to run the 40-yard dash, because this is the first time I'm going to be running a lot of that stuff, but it's practice from the media side of it, so they'll get a chance to get interviewed, and then a lot of these kids will also get contacted by our staff of writers to write an article about, and they'll get a chance to be featured on our website, and they'll get a chance to be in our magazine that's mailed off to 4,000 college coaches. So not only are you going to get a chance to have everything filmed, but you'll get a chance to get your name out there a little more. So that's another aspect about it is exposure, and that's really the other side of it. I'm going to go into why it's really good from a football standpoint to come to this camp, but from a media side of it, an exposure side of it, I mean, there's thousands of people that go and read our stuff, and including college coaches. We email articles monthly to college coaches so they can go and check some prospect write-ups on these kids. So it's really good for them, and a lot of kids that are freshmen, sophomores, really young in the process, they get a chance to get their feet wet a little bit in the process.
Absolutely, and I had the good fortune to coach with a guy that coaches Division I football right now at the FBS level, and he's at the University of North Texas staff. And I coached a little stint with him in high school. We coached together, and so this group is very deeply connected. I think what you just said, they want to see, those college coaches want to see highlights. They want to see footage. They want to see exposure to you. They want to see how you're going to be in the limelight, because they evaluate those things. They evaluate at a very high level nowadays in recruiting. It's a lot different than it's probably ever been, and that for kids, you have an opportunity when you get out to a camp like this. Like you said, you were around the media at a very high level, and I mean that with more humility way of point of view. But being at Southeastern like you were, you saw stuff, and you got to get exposure. If you don't get exposure as an athlete, it can affect recruiting. It can affect a lot, and it's very important to get out, get your name out there. We're going to be at a great site. I mean, site-wise, Ascension, East Ascension High School is a great venue. They have, we were talking about this, one of the most historical rivals every year in our state high school football when they play Santa Mon every year, which is a very, very known rival that really goes around the entire state, and everybody knows about that. But they have a really good coach they just hired that we were talking about. He's really a man that you can tell has got a great vision for his program, and so we're going to be at a great host site, really in the heart of Ascension. But what you just said, piggyback on what you just said, when it comes down to it, you have to understand exposure opens up the door for recruiting. and that is one of the most important areas, is how much exposure you can be able to gain. And I say that from being experienced with having a brother that played pro sports. My brother was drafted in professional baseball, and so he understood the what exposure really was to getting his opportunity. And you know, things that he taught me was that you can't ever take anything lightly. If you get an opportunity, go with it and try to get as much out of the situation as you can.
So that's the first thing, right? And that's what Ben was saying, is the exposure, because college coaches are going to be looking at you, and they're going to be starting to do some research on you. It's never too early to start the recruiting process for them. And when it comes to this camp, you're going to get that head start. You're going to get interviewed. You're going to get your picture taken. Everything that you're going to be doing is going to be filmed, and that's going to be really good practice to see how you handle that, because you're going to be going one-on-one against somebody else, and you're going to be filmed while doing it. So it's really good practice for the spotlight when the lights are brightest on Friday, Saturday, or even Sunday night. So that's one aspect of it. But of course, it's not just the media, it's not just the exposure. You're going to learn something. And we have all kinds of really good coaches. I mean, Ben's going to be one of them. You get a chance to learn a whole lot. But we get former college NFL guys that have gone and played in the NFL. Marcus Randall, who is a former LSU quarterback. Of course, everybody knows him about the Bluegrass Miracle that everybody brings up, I'm sure, every time they're around Marcus. But Gabe Northern has worked these camps, and Gabe Northern was an all-SEC player at LSU. We got former college coaches, high school head football coaches that come and work these events. So you'll get a chance to learn from these guys and take something from these guys that can help you and elevate your game on Friday night. Because not only we're doing 40-yard dashes and some competition, like one-on-one, 7-on-7s, but we go to indies, and you get a chance for 15, 20 minutes to really soak in and learn from some of these guys, and even learn some drills, or even do some drills that can help you. You can probably do at home and really help elevate your game.
Absolutely. You know, and one thing that I appreciate Andy so much about is, we have some great high school coaches in our state that really are students of the game and that are passionate about football, and they're obviously also great life coaches to kids all over our state. But what Andy's done such a great job of, he's bringing in coaches that love the game, and so when they teach an individual position, they have a passion towards it. Because when you're a head coach and you're never able to do. I know you being a coach's son understand that role it's so much to it every day that you don't get to sometimes focus on what your passion originates to in the game of football. And so that we're going to have coaches out there that are just focusing on that individual position, that allows them to get the passion out of what they got involved in the game of football for. And I think that's one thing that goes back to why Andy does what he does, and Andy's a coach at heart, is this camp is going to be a true football atmosphere. And like you're saying with Coach Randall, I coached with Coach Randall for a couple of years, and I have the utmost respect for Marcus of his passion for football. But one thing about, a lot of people know this, but if you've never really been around it, it's something to see. Marcus has a mind for coaching quarterbacks that is as good as I've ever seen. From my, just being around the game, and Marcus really loves quarterback, and that's the example of somebody's got a passion towards the game, of teaching athletes how to better their ability as a player on and off the field.
For sure, and it's really, and that's one a lot of people don't really get to think. Like, people think that this is like a competition against other college camps. Like Gridiron football is taken away from that. In fact, it's the opposite. We encourage players to go to college camps, go out to Tulane's camp, go out to South Alabama's camp, whatever college camp there is out there. We encourage them to go out and do that. This is actually early enough, is what we try to plan ahead. We plan this early enough so that players can go to these college camps. This is a really good practice for them, because a lot of the stuff they're going to be doing at this camp coming up at East Ascension is what they're going to be doing at these college camps. So this is really good practice. At least get them in that football shape football way of thinking when they go and approach these college camps.
Oh, you have to, because what you just said is the approach for it is so. It's such an evaluation system they have. You have so many camps out there. That when you show up, when you attend those camps, you can't make those mistakes that you think you can get away with sometimes, and I mean that humbly, because the thing is, when you get out there, you really have to show your ability. And one thing that we do at our camps is all we do is we just become teachers of the game of football, and that allows it to carry on to what's ahead. But what you just piggyback on what you just said, the college camps are so vital, to say the least, on getting exposure. But exposure meaning to get them to see you, to find you, and look at you. And I feel like one thing that, with this camp coming up is we have a lot of connection base and college recruiting with colleges, that can be a huge opportunity for you getting exposure on forward.
Yeah, and then speaking of more exposure, Gridiron football is going to offer that, and this certainly helps. Like, you're going to get, like I said, interviewed and all that, but like, you could get interviewed if you haven't gone to our camp, but that just kind of puts us at you as the high priority over somebody that hasn't gone to a camp, and that's what really helps. And like we said, we email these articles, we email these interviews out to college coaches. That way they can take a look at you, an early look at you. But it's really good because we went over the media exposure, we went over the coach and the type of coach you're going to be getting, what you're going to be learning from this experience, and not only this is practice, but hey, it's something to do on the Saturday. Instead of just like staying at home, not doing anything, use this as an opportunity to get better, right? And it's fun. Not only are you going to learn something, not only this is like a business trip, this is a practice, but you're going to have fun. Like it's going to be 1-on-1s, 7-on-7. It's competition. Even the offensive and defensive linemen have fun because Andy does the tire pull with them, the tire pull challenge with them, and the kids love it. So it's fun. And that's a thing we're going to harp on too. Is not just practicing and you learn how to become a better student athlete, but you're going to have fun at this. So that it's a really good experience for them to have fun and to compete and just play football. And you get a chance to do this in the spring, and it's a really fun opportunity for kids to go out and do on a Saturday when they could just been at home not really doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't want to repeat myself on this, but I think the one thing that I've coached around certain people where there's a culture of football that comes out, and one guy that always sticks in my mind that got me into football that I shared with you, going back to Coach McClendon, and his name's Jason McClendon. He coaches in the Texas area now, but he was the influence in my life that kept me around football. And there was something that that he always told me in his own way of own words, is that in football you have to formulate a unity amongst each other, a team atmosphere, and at the end of it, it can lead to success. And I think that's what competing is. If you want to go to a camp and you want to get opportunity to further your career past high school, it's about competing. It's about competing because there's always going to be somebody next to you that wants a job just as much as you. So you have to take every opportunity to go out there and compete. And when you compete, the greater good can happen on extending an opportunity for anything we do.
And there are rewards from this because we show off some pretty cool Gridiron football gloves that are really popular and really look good too. You get to really show them off. But if you're a top camp performer, get a chance to win a pair of these gloves. And I think we only give out 5 or 6 of them per camp. And we're always evaluating and looking because we have a Gridiron football All-American Bowl game. If you're an upcoming senior, which means you're a class of 2025 prospect, you come to the camp and you perform really well, you most likely, it's not going to come immediately at the camp, but most likely on a couple weeks now and then after the camp is over, good chance you might get a bowl game invite from us to play in the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. And that bowl game has been another outlet in which college coaches, they come to the practices, they come to the game, they come and see you. So this is the bowl game is another great opportunity if you're an upcoming senior, get a chance to get an invite for that game. We like the success rate. I mean, besides the big bowls, the All-American Bowl game, the Under Armour game, the Army All-American game, besides those, the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game has been right there as far as sending kids to play in the next level. And some of these kids come back and they help with the camps, they help with the bowl game. We're going to have a couple of players that went to our camps, went to our bowl game, and are about to play college football. They're coming on Saturday to help out with the camp. So it shows you the success of what these camps and the bowl game does.
Yeah, well, Andy's done a great job with that, and the one thing, about gridiron football, if the people haven't experienced this, I remember I coached in the 2018 game and 2019 game, and what Andy did such a great job of is keeping a family football culture atmosphere within that locker room and where we were at was the hotel. Mm-hmm. Because every day you were around each other, you felt like what it is during training camp. And that's one thing I appreciated so much about when I coached in that game, is being around that and seeing that. And that's what football. That's the game of football itself. In that it's a game of the passion for football, and the little things always add up to the big things of football. And that's one thing. At this camp. It's like you were saying, it's going back to something you said, is when we go into individual drills, sometimes, and I'm not going to say any negativity at all towards any other camps, but sometimes maybe some camps might not focus on that as much as individual drills. And I think, Andy is very high on that, making sure that fundamentals is a huge area of teaching that goes on. Because, football is at heart, it's a simple game. Because if you learn how to catch the ball, you learn how to make a tackle, you can become an efficient, successful player, and that gives you an opportunity to success. And so that's one thing in this camp is we're going to be focusing on the little things that make the big things simple in football, and that can allow you to get exposure that what we're about is helping y'all get the best of your opportunities ahead of you as a high school football player.
So let's look at the checklist one more time. Media exposure, check. You get all the results from the camp. 40 time, broad jump, everything, check. You get really good coaching, check. You get really teaching from these coaches, not only on the field, but to be a good student athlete, check. And then you get a chance this is practice for the college camps coming up, check. You just go down the list. It has all the check marks to it. You get a chance to compete, check. And then really finally, this is really for the parents out there, but it's cost efficient, it's cost effective, because you go and look at these other college camps. Not other college camps, but there's other camps out there that it costs an arm and a leg to go to. But for the Gridiron Football Elite Camp, it's only $50. Now $50, a long time we kept it for $50. Week at the camp is $75, and then if you just show up the day of, it's $100. But you get your money's worth, because we spend more time with you, and it's like more of a one-on-one experience as well, because you can go ask the coaches questions if you need anything, and they will help and answer your questions. And you get media coverage out of it. You get filmed. You get in the magazine. You get a chance to be written about. Get your name out there. Get a chance to compete and play football. Get a chance to have fun. And you do all of this at a rate of $50 to $100, which is pretty affordable considering other camps are even more expensive than that.
Well, that goes back to why Andy started this, because it's not about the money; it's about the people. Mm-hmm. And he does not do this to take all the limelight of things. Andy does this to help people, and that's why the rate is so affordable, because he knows I want kids to have an opportunity to get to college and play college football, or I want kids to get the opportunity to learn life lessons in football in every way possible. That's why I started Gridiron Football. Because for that purpose. And so with this camp, that's one thing. And when we get out there, it's gonna be having fun and the joy of the game, because one thing about football is you got to have fun first, and we all come from a background of higher level teaching in football, but what we're there for is helping you as an athlete and furthering your ability and teaching the little things that again can make the game simple over time, that can allow you to be success in the game of football.
Get a chance to be 1% better, right? And what's the difference between 1% better? Is the difference of you going out there and competing for a couple hours and compared to just staying at home playing video games, not really doing anything. So what can you do to be better? And this is an opportunity for you to be better. So that checks all the boxes. That saying, you get what you pay for. Well, you get what you pay for with Gridiron Football and then some more. So you get a chance to be in our magazine that goes over 4,000 college coaches. Top performing athletes will get a chance to win some pretty cool gear from us. And if you're an upcoming senior, have yourself a really good showing, you get a chance to be invited to a Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game, get a chance to compete, have fun, get filmed, etc. It's really good practice as well for the college camps coming up. So, Ben, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Maybe something that they can, what the players should expect when they go with you? I know you're going to be around. You're definitely with the offense for sure, whether it's quarterbacks, offensive line, but just overall, what kind of things will they be getting a chance to learn from you on Saturday?
Well, one thing I'm going to do is, when it comes to what I do when I get out there, is, I like I said, we talked about on the first show we had together. I coach high school for 10 years. My whole thing is whatever position I'm on, I've coached, all the offensive side of the ball, but my whole thing is to teach you quick habits, because I could sit there and give you 5,000 things, and it's about forming a consistent ability as a football player, and that's my whole teaching. One thing that's really been such a great thing that I've enjoyed with it, what Andy's done, is he's formed, he has a great relationship with high school coaches in our state, but he's got his high school coaches he's on a regular basis with, and the high school coaches, he's brought on for bowl games that I was a part of and other things. He's done a great job of those coaches. And, we got some great high school coaches in our state. A lot of people might not know that from an outside looking in point of view, but we have some really good high school coaches. And so whatever high school coaches are on hand, Andy's meticulously picked that to be a part of Gridiron Football. And, I could just say that what I saw from the last camp that I was a part of, and it goes back to when the first time Andy told me about this idea, this business, is he had just great teachers of the game. And that's so important, to receive great teaching. My brother always said, playing pro baseball is you got to kind of follow a mentality in sports of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Mm-hmm. And that really is a sports term that if you don't form it quick as an athlete, sometimes you can not adapt to stuff. And so we're going to be teaching you just little simple fundamentals of the ability of football, but we're going to be doing it in the passion of the game. And I can just say, coaching in the bowls in prior years and being a part of Gridiron Football like I have with Andy as a friend, first off, he's done a great job on the teachers of the game of football that he's had involved with Gridiron from the beginning to now.
Well, the last thing I'm going to say about it is, if you're an athlete, my last reason to pitch it out to you is this is actually going to be the last camp of the spring in Louisiana. So if you're an athlete in Louisiana that wants to get better, wants to get a chance to be on Gridiron Football's radar, if you're not on our radar already, well, make sure to go to our camp, take advantage of it this Saturday, because this will be the last camp of the spring in the boot. But we had other camps coming up, so this won't be our last and final camp, but you're going to have to go out of state to do so, because we're going to have a camp in Texas. We're also going to have a camp in Mississippi. We're still finalizing locations for those venues, but when we do, like we did with East Ascension, we'll make sure to let you know about that. And you can look at the flyer right there in front of your screen. You're going to see the flyer to our camp this Saturday, April 6th. It is going to be at East Ascension High School. As you can see on the flyer, so the camp is not going to be at the campus. It's going to be at the stadium. So make sure we're not getting confused there. So it's East Ascension Stadium, Spartan Stadium. So the address is 416 North Burnside Avenue in Gonzales. So that's where you can find the stadium. So it's going to be at Spartan Stadium this Saturday, April 6th. And you see Adam Wiggins. He's on the cover of the flyer. Adam is a former East Ascension Spartan. He played in our Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. Congrats to Adam this past year being a Gridiron Football All-American. He's also going to play for Centenary College. So he signed with Centenary College to commit for Centenary. So you see him on the flyer there. Check in 8 o'clock to 9:45. We do check-ins. We do interviews from 8 to 9:45. And then from 9:45 10 o'clock is when the coaches get a chance to give athletes advice on how to be the best representation of themselves as student athletes. And then from 10 to 1, we'll have the camp. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll have the awards presentation. So if you're watching this video right now, you can go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. Go to the top, you'll see Elite Camps. Press Elite Camps tab, and then you can go and see the East Ascension flyer at the bottom of the page. You click that, and you can register for our next camp. It's $75 right now, the week of the camp, but that will open all the way up to the day of the camp, which is $100 the day of the camp. But you can go and pay for it when you show up the day of. So make sure to go to gridironfootballusa.com. If you're a student athlete, I highly encourage you to come to this camp. Great opportunity to get better, get a chance to learn something, and get your name out there even more. So for Benjamin Hall, I'm Chase Luzerne saying so long. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Prep Spotlight, and then we hope to see you on Saturday. It's going to be another great camp at East Ascension High School. Appreciate Coach Brock Mathern for helping us out so much, and appreciate Ascension Parish School Board as well. Should be a fun day at Spartan Stadium. Make sure to join us on Saturday, April 6th.